What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the July edition of the monthly check-in. Today I'm going to be covering kind of the concept and the whole theme behind my brand new instrumental album called Mural of a Sober Introvert. Just kind of discussing the origins of it and what that title really means to me personally, and just what it's all about in general. But as always, going to get into these 3 monthly picks, 3 tracks I think you guys should be checking out for the month of July. The first track is by producer Nappy High featuring Blue and Ivan Ave. This song is called Love It. I believe it's going to be featured on Nappy High's upcoming compilation album that should be out this summer at some point. It might even be out by the time this episode drops. But this song is really cool, and he actually teased, Nappy High that is, he teased that he had a song with Ivan Ave, and I was definitely looking forward to hearing it. So I thought it was really cool that he put it out as a single. Ivan Ave, one of my favorite artists, and Nappy High being one of my favorite producers. This was the first time they collaborated, and the sound just meshed very well. And Blue, of course, he's been on a ton of Nappy High beats over the years. I think even Nappy High's tag is from the song they did with Jay Worthy a few years ago. So they've obviously collaborated a ton of times, but hearing all these people come together for such a cool song is really nice. It's more of like an interlude. It's like 2 to 3 minutes, but it's definitely like a love type song, as the title suggests. And I love how Nappy High can always infuse different styles of both R&B and hip hop, and this is no different. I mean, it's very, it's a bit sultry, but it's got that nice pocket with the drums and everything going on. And you have 2 very talented lyricists just doing their thing over this. And it also sounds like at the end of the song, it leads into something else. So that's why I'm going to assume that it's part of this album. And I'm just looking forward to hearing the full body of work when it drops, because Nappy High's album Menace from 2023, one of my favorite albums that year. It made my final album of the year list. And it just blew me away because that was when I discovered his sound and immediately became a fan, immediately became a fan of his style, and had a lot of great features on that. So I'm sure this one is going to be no different. But for now, check this out. It's called Love It. Nappy High produced it, featuring Blue and Ivan Ave. Next up, we have a Jamla Records release. This one is by Jada, who is the daughter of Ninth Wonder. Crazy, I did not know she produced music, but this is a fully produced album by her in collaboration with an artist named Saya. And for having never heard any songs by these two, separately or together, this album called The Zenith really blew me away. This came out at the end of May, and they had dropped a few singles beforehand, like over the course of the spring, but the full album, I mean, it really knocked my socks off. If you're a fan of Ninth Wonder and his sound, I could tell that Jada really got in that same type of bag with the sampling, the really hard knocking drums, classic hip hop style and sound. And I believe Saya is also from probably North Carolina. I think he's in that same area that a lot of the other Jamla artists are. But I think it was cool that Jada and him teamed up for this, because again, they're 2 young artists and producers that people probably aren't super familiar with outside of their affiliation with Ninth Wonder so far. But I thought it was cool that Ninth, put this out, and he put his name on it too, so that way other people could discover it. And from what I can tell, it's working pretty well. But Saya, on the lyrical side, he's covering a lot of different topics. His love for, having relationships, of course, but his love for music and passion and balancing all those sorts of things. And he talks about a lot of, the struggles, the pitfalls of that. But there's just a lot of different things that come out of this topic-wise that really impressed me. And I think he's pretty young. I think he's, mid-20s, but he sounds super mature on this thing. He sounds like he has lived a lot of life to be able to make an album like this. And Jada's production fits it very well. The sample selection fits what Saya is talking about on this. And I always love when people are able to do that. And, not to say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, but Jada definitely has that same type of vibe that you'll get from any Ninth Wonder beat. And I'm excited to see what she is going to be doing moving forward. I would love to hear some beat tapes from her, some instrumental albums. And Saya, I'm going to be on the lookout for his stuff too. I don't know if he's going to keep just working with Jada solely or doing things with Ninth and some other producers, but I think he is like super talented, and it's going to be a thrill to see how both of their careers go from here. But this album called The Zenith, presented by Ninth Wonder, it's by Saya and Jada. Definitely go check it out. Finally, we have a release from Stone's Throw Records. This is by Michi and Mind Design. It's actually a cover of, I don't remember the band that made this song, but it's Are You Lonesome is the song. And I was familiar with this track because Pete Rock actually sampled it for the song Lonesome on his album, The Auditorium Volume 1 with Common a couple years ago. So that's where I first heard the original song, because he sampled that. Well, this is a cover of that song. Again, you'd have to kind of look up who the group was that originally did it. I believe the song is from the 60s or the 70s, somewhere in that time frame. But this was a really cool cover because Mind Design took the production, kind of flipped it a little bit, and made a really mellow jam. And Michi's vocals over this are incredible. Mind Design comes in with some counter melodies and his own vocals. And I'm excited to see what their other collaborations hold from here. And I believe this is part of Michi is doing like a remix album of her album last year, which the name of the album escapes me. I think it was called Dirty Talk, which I actually really enjoyed that album, the original version. But she's doing kind of a flipped version with Mind Design and Knowledge as well, which I'm definitely looking forward to hearing because those are two producers I love. And I think it's cool that Michi is, I think she started out doing mostly pop stuff. It seems like since she signed to Stone's Throw, it's been a lot more of that style of clashing R&B and hip hop with some pop vibes, but her vocals sound really good over this type of production. I would love to hear her and Mind Design keep doing material moving forward. So this one, again, the cover of Are You Lonesome? Look up the group because off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you who made the original, but it's a great song nonetheless. And this one's by Michi and Mind Design, so go give it a listen. So this month I will be early releasing my brand new instrumental album called Mural of a Sober Introvert to the platform Even, and then it's gonna eventually be on Bandcamp and all other platforms in August. July 17th, early release, official release August 17th, just so you guys know. But today I just kind of wanted to cover the concept of this project because I always thought coming up with the title for this was really cool, and it's channeled directly from my life and my experiences. And for those that don't know, I am a fully sober artist and person. I've never drank, smoked. I've never smoked anything. I have had some drinks before here and there, but like hardly anything over the course of my life. I'm 29 years old, and it just never has appealed to me, like from the very beginning. I'd say from the time I was in probably 6th grade, 7th grade on up, a lot of peers, a lot of people that I went to school with, they were already partaking in that sort of thing, going to parties, doing that sort of thing. I just was never part of that crowd, so it never really, it just never really appealed to me, and I really wasn't someone that was outgoing in that way, so I wasn't going to parties early on in life. But I would always hear about the stories about like so-and-so got drunk and did this crazy thing. And, I think what other people defined as like cool, I just never really understood it. And maybe that's because I just wasn't surrounded by it. But I kind of look back at that and I credit that for why I was able to focus on music, because I wasn't distracted by all that other riffraff around. And I also tried the best I could, and looking back on it, I didn't always do this, but I tried to surround myself with people that were a good influence, or at least like a better influence, or people that did what I like to do. Like I would just go to the park and play basketball, so I would hang out with people that did that, or go to the movies, or do anything else that wasn't that stuff. But from there, once I got into high school, that was where I started focusing on music and like studying music production and all those things. And I feel like I've always felt like because I didn't partake in drinking, smoking, doing all this other stuff, it allowed me to have a laser focus on pursuing a craft and getting really good at it. And then from there, just one thing led to another, started making music, boom, boom, boom. 10 years later, here we are. And I've done all these things and I'm continuing to get better every single day. So I thought this was probably 2022 or so. I came up with this title and I was like, if my life ended today, what would I leave behind? What would I call this thing? And what if I was an artist and like I was painting a picture of my life and like what to me it's all about? And I'm also like a super introverted person regardless, which I've mentioned to you guys many times over the last few years in different forms of content. And I don't know, it just kind of hit me where I was like, Mural of a sober introvert. Like it all kind of just made sense together. And I'm not like one for super long album titles, but I felt that was appropriate. And I knew I wanted it conceptually to be about myself because it's derived from personal experiences. I always knew it would just be an instrumental album though, because I was like, I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to make an album that when you heard it, you understood the story behind it. So hopefully when I release this and do more of the explaining, it makes more sense, but it is more on the somber side for the most part. I mean, there's upbeat stuff in there for sure, but it's nothing like super in your face. A lot of like reflective stuff, a lot of things that are just think pieces too. The intro, Reflecting Pool, great example. It's more of I call it a reflecting pool because it's looking at my own life, looking back at those experiences. And it's a ballad, which I think I did a ballad of some sort on Leaves and Soil. I don't remember, but nothing quite like this one, where it's literally just lots of strings and a beautiful set of keys and things like that. And it really kind of just sets the tone for, we're looking inward here. We're changing kind of the direction. But just putting these 10 tracks together, I did this mostly in 2024. So around the time I was wrapping up Unknown Advantage, I was starting to like put this album together and figure it out. But I think just the overall message and narrative I want people to get from it is, even when you think that you're kind of the odd man out or the oddball, or your differences are something that bothers you, that is really what makes you be unique in the way of getting things done, if that makes sense. Because if you're not doing that and you're not being your true intentional self, then you'll just fall into the crowd of everybody else, and most likely you'll lose focus on what you're doing. And another thing is, like, the older I've gotten and getting more involved in the art world and the art scene, another side of the concept for this is, well, how long do you maintain being a sober musician? Because it only gets harder, right? Because there's expectations, there's you're surrounded by a lot of crazy highs and lows all the time. And that's a big reason why even people who have been sober for years, they start to dabble in things that they didn't imagine dabbling in once they start touring, once they start doing all these things. And that's, who's to say I could never fall into that trap myself? So I always try to be conscious of that, keep an open mind to myself, how I'm feeling. Your practice forms of meditation, treat myself well, try to eat better, all those things. Like, everything ties back together to keep me from ever even thinking of that. And I have never thought of that. I can be honest with you guys. I've never thought of doing drugs or doing anything like that because it just isn't, like I said, it's not of interest to me. and not doing it early on in life has helped me stay on that path. So I look forward to continuing to stay on that path and really just keep focusing on the art and making my life better, but also helping other people hopefully make their lives better. But if anything, if you just consider it another instrumental album, that's fine. But I love building concepts and world building and doing all these things. And I hope that this video and just hearing it will hopefully inspire someone out there that maybe your journey's similar. Maybe you're the one friend that doesn't do all these other things. You don't want to go get drunk with your buddies, and you get, maybe you get kind of neglected by those people. You might lose friends because of things like that. And there's just a lot of moments as a creative where you feel like you're all alone, and that there's really no one that can relate to your journey specifically. But hopefully if you hear something like this, it helps you realize that's not the case, and that a lot of people deal with this type of thing, and I'm one of those people. So yeah, I just hope people enjoy this one. It was really fun to make an album where I was looking more at my own life and my own journey, and that's different from these last few instrumental projects where they've been more on a central theme that has nothing to do with myself. But it would be cool if people can relate to this story and just kind of relate to where I'm coming from with it. And let me know in the comments, like, have you guys ever experienced this? Are you a sober artist as well? And what is that experience like? Because I haven't really heard anybody touch on this. I think the only person that I can think of that has even mentioned anything like this in an interview was Vince Staples. And Vince Staples is a totally sober musician. He doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he just focuses on art and music and all these other creative passions that he has. And I think seeing that interview too kind of indirectly inspired this to be like, wow, like that's me. Like, I'm the same way. I just want to do this art thing and like live my life and not be involved in all this other stuff that's going on. And I'm never going to judge anybody for how they live their life, but I have to live mine the way that I'm called to do so. But yeah, Mural of a Sober Introvert, that's pretty much the story behind it. Hopefully you guys can check it out. July 17th, early release. If you guys want to buy it, you'll get access to the music, and you'll get access to the merch that we did. Pretty cool t-shirt. But if not, August 14th, it'll be on all platforms and my Bandcamp as well. So let me know if you guys check it out, what your favorite songs are, all that good stuff. Before we get out of here, again, check out Mural of a Sober Introvert, but I want to thank people once again for checking out Clouds Volume 1 with Elijah Russian. Got a lot of traction on that release that came out at the end of May, early release that we did on Bandcamp, and then we just released it on my birthday, June 27th, on all platforms. And we've got a ton of people that just, said great job on the music, great job on the rollout, all this stuff. Very proud of the way that turned out, and we're definitely going to be doing another probably 2 volumes for this series, so be on the lookout. But thank you guys for supporting this. Elijah has been a great collaborator, and I'm excited to keep opening doors with him and experimenting with the next few batches of music that we do. So just want to say that, appreciate you guys. And if you haven't checked it out, go give it a listen. And I got one more collaboration coming out this month. It's with my buddy from Philadelphia, Black, who I've known now for probably 4 or 5 years. We finally did an EP, and it's called Me Versus Me. Gonna be dropping on the 25th of this month. I'll have it up on my Bandcamp as well. Very lyrical. It's got a little bit of trap influence too, but I wanted to really make an EP for him that sounded a bit different than what he's been doing recently, and I think we definitely achieved that. This is a nice listen, so go give it a listen when you guys get the chance. It might be a little bit after this video comes out, but I want to thank Black for the opportunity to put this together, and he's been really great to work with over the last few years, ever since we did the track on the Proven Knowledge album. and just a great guy in general. So go give that a listen when it drops. And I don't know if I highlighted the other collaboration album I did that dropped on June 15th. Solace with Grizz, one of the oldest projects that I've had laying around for a while now. Made this album in 2022. Actually 2021 and 2022 I think is when we finished it, but we've been kind of sitting on it, trying to get things ready for it, and we finally put it out. This one is definitely more of a trap vibe. It's definitely more energetic compared to the stuff I've made. But again, I made this, 3 or 4 years ago. But Grizz, really cool lyricist. Like, he has a lot of versatility. And I felt like on Solace, he really was touching on a lot of like more introspective things. And we gave 10 tracks, a couple features on there. Dre to Dream, Aaliyah the Truth, shout out to them for contributing. But yeah, go check this one out too on my Bandcamp, on all platforms. It was an honor to work with Grizz and do this album, and a lot of ups and downs throughout the process of this one. But we hope you guys enjoy it. And if you do like more of that trap sound, this one is definitely one you want to give a listen to. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe, stay positive out there, and we'll be back in August with another edition of the Monthly Check-In. But until then, take care, have a good one.